It is freezing cold in Canada. So welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be in a more cozier setting by my window with my little cover because Canada is freezing cold right now. We're going through a polar vortex. The temperature is like -30 outside. But anyway, we'll be talking about all of the best winter thrillers that I have read and that you should totally read for the winter season. So let's talk about it. So I'm going to start with my current read, which is The Overnight Guest. And this is about a woman who's kind of escaped her life into an isolated, who's kind of ran away from her life and decided to go live in an isolated farm. And during this blizzard, she finds a little child like passed out on her front lawn. And she's like, oh my God, why is there a frozen child on my front lawn? I'm gonna bring him inside and take care of this little boy. So she takes him in and things start to get really weird halfway through the book, and I'm having the best time with it. It's really thrillery. There's so many point of views, there's so many characters, there's so many plots going on, and I'm just so excited to see how everything falls into place. Right now it's like a 4-star read. Will it become a 5-star read? I don't know. I'm gonna have to finish the book, but I will highly recommend this book currently if you want a nice blizzard thriller winter book. The next book I want to talk about, which is one of my favorites, I read it like a couple years ago, and it was No Exit. This is the best book. It's about a girl who's going home for the holidays. She gets caught in a blizzard and she's forced to stop at this rest stop on the highway, and as she's going to the rest stop, she sees a child trapped in the back of a van. And so obviously there's only 5 people at this rest stop, so one of the 5 people has to be the one that kidnapped this little girl. So she's trying to save this little girl and find out who kidnapped her. It's like a cat and mouse game, and it's so good. It's gory, it's action packed. I binge read this book. I stayed up till 6 a.m. to finish this book because it was so insanely intense. I would not rest until I knew what happened at the end, and I instantly love this book. I gave it 5 stars. The movie is also pretty good, so I would recommend both. I feel like with No Exit, this book was just more than just a intense action-packed thriller. The characters were so lovable. I completely fell in love with Darby and Jade. Their relationship between the main character and the little girl she finds was so heartfelt. I was reading some reviews on this book and people were saying that Darby made some really dumb decisions, and I highly disagree, because I feel like 100% if you guys were put in a situation where you were trapped in a blizzard with 5 strangers that could be a literal child kidnapper, it would definitely test your thinking skills, because I could not survive that. The things that the villains put Darby through in this book was so insane. I would have been so scared for my life. I have no survival instincts. I am like a deer in headlights. I literally just, when something intense and scary happens, I literally just stayed paused, like ready to die basically. And I feel like Darby in her situation, she dealt with it how I feel like she was thinking smart. I don't know, like I feel like if I put myself in her shoes, I don't know what I would have done, because this is so intense and so scary. And I just feel like people in the comments were acting like they were, Bruce Lee or something like that, and I'm like, please. And I just really loved this book. It was just so good. No Exit, I just feel like it's just one of the best thriller books I've read in a long time. The next book you should read is obviously Freida McFadden. I love Freida McFadden. I know she's either hit or miss for some people, but I really enjoy her books. I think they're really fun and entertaining. This couple goes to an open house, and it's in the middle of a blizzard, and they end up trapped there at the house. They're just straight out there, and things start to get really weird in there, and I loved this book. It was so intense. It was entertaining. The plot twists were insane. I never guessed anything. So good, and I highly recommend this one. Also, the husband, I don't know why husbands in horror movies, husbands in thriller books, they're the worst possible characters to ever exist. So if you are annoyed by the husband in this book, it's normal, because I was annoyed too. Don't let him deter you from enjoying this book. Next winter thriller that you should definitely read is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. So Alice Feeney has become one of my favorite thriller authors, and this one was so good. This does take place on Valentine's Day, so Valentine's Day is coming up, so it's probably the perfect book to read around this time. We follow 2 characters, and it is their wedding anniversary. They end up winning a weekend getaway trip to this little old chapel in Scotland, and obviously their trip takes a turn for the worse because they are stuck in the middle of a blizzard, and the chapel is creepy as heck, and it's just such an amazing read. It's so atmospheric. The writing is phenomenal. The characters are so crazy. Obviously secrets start to unravel, things start to happen, and it's honestly so intense. It was so good. Alice Feeney has a way with words, and it's just fantastic. I never annotate thriller books, and I was literally highlighting quotes because I love them so much. And anyway, it's just a perfect book to read for the winter, perfect thriller for Valentine's Day, so I definitely recommend this one. I also really loved how in this book we had the main character, the husband, his name's Adam Wright, and he has like no facial recognition. It's like this ability where he can't recognize faces, and I feel like that was a really unique plot to add to the story. Imagine seeing a face and just not recognizing that face. Like, you can't even recognize your own family, you can't recognize your own wife. Really sad, actually. Like, this book I would totally recommend is One by One by Ruth Ware. One by One is basically when a corporate getaway becomes murderous. The one thing I learned about this book is to never go skiing in France. It will be a traumatizing experience for you, so I would not recommend that. One of my favorite tropes in a thriller is a locked-in mystery where the characters are in an isolated location and there's like a killer on the loose and they're all being hunted down. It's one of my favorite tropes to read. I feel like One by One did a good job of executing this trope, even though I will say that the first 30% of this book was a little slow. It did take me a little bit of time to get into the plot, but I did really enjoy the characters. The cast of characters was interesting. The plot was predictable in this one, but it didn't stop me from enjoying this book. I will say I really loved how atmospheric this book. This takes place on obviously a snowy mountain. It was just intense and wild. It was truly a crazy read, especially the ending. This is the end of my video. Thank you for watching. I hope you read these 5 winter thriller books. If you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye guys.